going on, everybody? So we are going to talk about the one thing, for whatever reason, nobody wants to talk about. We're going to talk about menopause. Do you want to know why we're going to talk about menopause? Because there are things that I did not know that I am going through. There are things that I'm sure you guys that have no clue about, outside of what they tell us, what menopause is going to be like. So for me, I've started with my premenopausal symptoms, missing my period maybe 4 years ago. I would miss like 2 months out of the year at first. That's how it started, 2 months out of the year. And then I want to say the first year down here, I went into the hot flashes. And last year, of around this same time, the hot flashes had gotten worse. But I didn't know. I mean, they said it's menopause. Oh, hey, it's menopause, whatever. Lost some weight. I was under a tremendous amount of stress. So the sweating was bad. It was bad. But it wasn't as bad as it was. If you guys see my other videos that I posted this year when I was going through it, they don't tell you that you can possibly end up in the hospital. Okay? I ended up in the hospital because I could not handle stress. You know how they say stress is the #1 killer? They don't lie. All right, now that I'm parked, I can have this conversation. I ended up in the hospital because I was sweating so bad, and I literally documented it. I would go from completely shivering cold to like an inferno. My insides were like on fire, and this would last for about, I want to say, about a minute. But in that minute, I was sweating so bad that I would have to change my clothes. Okay? Every time I started having a hot flash, my energy level was going down. And every hour, this was going on for weeks, every hour it was so bad. I mean, I was sleeping on the floor. I was trying to catch a couple of Z's in the tub, trying to run the hot water on me, because everything on me had dropped, and nobody knew why. Nobody. So one night, I could tell that something was wrong with my body, because I had been cramping up. I want to say my muscles were cramping up that week. Just crazy things were cramping up on me. Like my elbow cramped up on me. I think my eyeball cramped. I mean, it was like things that were cramping up on me that you were like, I didn't even know it could do that. But it did. And I woke up the next morning and I felt very, very weak. And I said to my son, I was like, can you please go get me something to eat? Because I need to eat something. He went and got me something to eat. I threw it up. I went in the bathroom to try to make it, and I was so weak that as I was throwing up, my abdominals, all of them, contracted and stayed contracted. So I am in the bathroom throwing up, and I'm trying to beat my abs to relax because it just wasn't relaxing. So I told my daughter, after I tried to call my son, I was on the floor, called him. He didn't hear me because he was downstairs. So I had to, I crawled to my daughter's room, and I was like, I barely got that door open. I said, you have to call 911 for me. You have to. That's when I knew it was serious. So ambulance comes. I'm thrown up in the ambulance. I get to the hospital, thrown up in the hospital, and the doctor comes in, and they are watching me as I'm saturating. I am literally going through a hot flash, and I am like soaking wet, and then I'm cold. So basically, this is how it goes. In an hour, I will have a minute's worth of a hot flash, right? And then I will spend the remaining time freezing cold. I could not get my temperature to come up for nothing. I was putting towels in the dryer like every 30, 40 minutes. Every time I was having a hot flash, just to get them warm. Like, I went through it. Get to the hospital. They say, well, we're going to give you something to help with the nausea. So they give me something to help with the nausea. Nausea eventually stops. The doctor's looking at me. They take some blood. I think they took urine. I can't even swear to it, but I think they did. And when the doctor came back, they were like, your kidneys are about to fail. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Homeboy just walked out the office after he told me that. And I'm like, am I getting ready to die? Like, he took a phone call. He's like, hey, I'll be right back. And he never came back. The nurse told me. She's like, do you know how close you came to a heart attack? I was like, no. She says, your potassium level was so low. That was the reason why your body was cramping up. And if you did not come into the hospital, you would have eventually had a heart attack. Or your kidneys would have failed. So I spent the next 24 hours in the hospital. They had me on medication. They were taking tests. They were doing all of these things, and they still couldn't find out what was wrong. They were like, maybe it's your thyroid. You know, I'd already been to the doctor for my thyroid. My thyroid was normal. I had a CT scan with and without contrast. They made me do a 24-hour urine test where, you know, you have to just keep putting just everything. It was crazy. So when I got out the hospital, I told myself, I am not going to keep doing this. And every single time I had a hot flash and I was feeling weaker and weaker and weaker, I started to realize that I got to change my mindset, because if I don't, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not giving into this. I'm just going to fight it. So every time after that, hot flash, I would stand up as weak as I was until the hot flash was over. It's almost like it's almost like labor. I finally stopped sweating. It only took a week. I was going through this for almost 2 months. I was losing a pound a day before I went to the hospital. That's how much sweating I was doing. I was 152 pounds. And because these doctors did not know what was wrong with me, the only thing they could say is either your adrenal gland has a tumor on it, or you're just having a really bad side effect of menopause. It's a side effect. What I realized a few months after that, okay, the trigger is stress. If I get under enough of it, my body just starts to sweat, just breaks down. And when I realized that it was in my mind, I was like, wait, hold up. Are you trying to tell me that I could have had this going if I'd have just changed my thought process? Oh, yeah. So, like I said, a couple months had passed, going through this whole eviction process thing with this management company that we're renting from, because now we have to move. And I started sweating again, because then now I'm scared. Now I'm stressed out because now I don't know what to do. And then I started to realize, oh, I'm not going through this again. I refuse. So what I did was I put it out there in the universe. I says, I am not going to allow what is going on with me right now to affect my health. I refuse to do it. I refuse. I had to let that stress go. I said, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You know, I had to realize that I get through almost anything that I've gone through in my life with no problem. I just don't ever give myself enough credit for being able to go through it. You know, I just don't. So that was one of the toughest lessons that I had to learn. If you happen to be going through a menopause, a little bit more sweat than normal, if you happen to be in your 40s, it might just be the start of it. It might just be, everyone's symptoms are different. But if you just so happen that you are coming across yourself being, sweating a lot, this is what I did. When I got home from the hospital, I replicated the IV that they gave me. I bought a gallon of water, 1 to 2 teaspoons maybe, pink Himalayan salt in that gallon of water, and I drank that. Every time I had a hot flash, I drank that gallon. I had never drank so much Gatorade, water, lemon water, so much in my life as I did throughout that week, just to get my body back at where it needed to be at, because my potassium was so low. Because the doctor was like, yeah, you're gonna have to eat a bag of potato chips. I'm like, I'm a personal trainer. I don't want to eat that all the time. But anyway, I ate he's like, eat fries, eat whatever you can to get your potassium level up. That's what I did. For a whole week, I just didn't worry about the junk food. I ate whatever I could get my hands on. It didn't matter. I just didn't want to feel the way I was feeling. I did not want to feel like I had no control over my life. Just because I'm going through a natural progression of my life. You know, every female has to go through it. But there are things that they just don't tell you about that you need to be aware of. If you happen, and I said this before, be very mindful of the amount of stress that you keep around you, because it's a possibility that if you are under enough, you can intensify the symptoms of your menopause, which is what I did. I intensified it. When I changed my mind process on it, I haven't had a problem. And I still get my little sweats here and there. Nothing is, I was okay. It's nothing compared to what I went through. But the moment I get myself stressed out, I start sweating from the inside out. Like, it's crazy. I'm not going through that again. I refuse to allow anything to get me so upset in my life that it's starting to affect my health. So do yourself a favor. If you have any questions about menopause, please ask me. I can tell you. I can tell you the things that you don't know. I can tell you the things that you're not going to know, or things that you may want to know later. You know, I don't know, but it's always good to have the information. It's always good to have the information. So anyway, if you guys have questions, you are more than welcome to ask me. Like, you know that I am an open book. Do not forget, you guys, please. I'm trying to up my numbers on my YouTube and on my Instagram. Listen, I'm trying to take care of my family. I'm trying to be an influencer. I'm trying to get my value out here into the world. So do me a favor, like and subscribe. Please share this video with anyone who might need it. Anyone you know is going through menopause and you know they don't really know what's going on with their body, or if you just want to know, because it's always good as a female to have that information. Anyway, this is Carla Alexander, and my baby's in the car, so we gone. So we will holla at you later.